You are watching a special presentation from Tinkle Group Gaming. Hello guys, and welcome here to the Jello Cup Series race number 3 here today from the Richmond Raceway. Today we present to you, I believe, it is the Federated Auto Parts 400, if I recall correctly. Of course, each year we alternate it, so I believe this is the year that it's the Federated Auto Parts 400 here at Richmond. Of course, it is our only visit to the track this season. Hello guys, I'm Brian here in the booth with you. Starting from the pole will be Dylan Young in the number 2, and 2 is outside will be that number 78 of Ryan Kinghart. As we get going, I just want to clarify one thing you might have saw. Of course, I did show you guys the knockout qualifying results at the beginning. You might have noticed, of course, Pretty Shaw, Jessica Kinghart, Charles Sanford, Trevor Collins, Colin Cropley, and Samet Ozkan all advanced. Of course, Samet Ozkan, Pretty Shaw will be making their season debut, so all of the full-timers that are attempting this season have finally qualified for a race. But one guy in particular, of course, Bradley Ream, he was 7th, so therefore technically he would have advanced. However, because Alexander Rowe did not make it in on speed, he will make it in on the past champions provisional. So it is the second time out of, I believe, 7 times he can use it. So he has 5 more times he can use the champions provisional this season. But it might not be a concern. He's been running really well this season in that 28, so don't expect it to be a concern. Might be a concern for Scott Upton, who's starting in 3rd, if he does not get things going today here at Richmond. But let's get going. We'll roll the intro when we come back. We'll take the green flag here from Richmond in just a moment.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.
Here we go, we're going through 3 and 4, getting ready to take the green. Here today at Richmond, the pace car is off. Dylan Young, Ryan Kinghart, they'll make their way into the Geico restart zone. The green flag waves were underway at Richmond. Dylan Young will lead the opening lap. As you see the battle for second still going on track. That's Scott Upton trying to take the position away from Ryan Kinghart. And he'll do so. Here comes Michael Collins. It's been a rough start to the season for the defending champion. He wants to make some noise here. He's trying hard to get that 3rd position away. And I believe he will get it. Dylan Young, you saw there, he raced out to an 0.8 of a second lead early on. I was about to Samet Ozkan climbing into the top 10 in the early going. Of course, Samet Ozkan has not made a race yet this season up till today. And he knows he's got some ground and more to make up. Oh, look at the 31. Roberto Crown just made a bold move there. He moves up a few, and now we got a battle for 7th on track. Samet Ozkan going to try to take the position away from Steve Morgan. Carter Joey right behind them both. In the 2311 Toyota there. And you see that Samet Ozkan going to clear. There goes Dave James trying to get his season on the right, or back on track here. He's battling for 11th right now. Of course, that Subaru team struggling early as mentioned. And this is Dave James' first start at Richmond. So we'll see if there's any luck for him. Dylan Young out to a second lead early on. Of course, after today we have our first road course race of the season at Circuit of the Americas. We will then go to Nashville for the next race. Then we got Auto Club in Phoenix, our West Coast Swing, 2 races before going to the Bristol Dirt Race. And then Talladega, race number 9, will be the next time we see the part-timers back in the field. So these guys going to want to really buckle up here. And of course, they really want to buckle up for the next 2 races, because Circuit of the Americas and Nashville will determine the top 33 for this season in the owner points. And that's when we'll switch from last season's to this season's in terms of who will have to qualify their way in and who will be locked in. Another driver making her debut. Actually, it's her first ever Jello Cup Series start. I just want to highlight them, of course, because they have not raced yet in the first 2 races. That is Pretty Shaw in the number 1, the second Trackhouse racing car. Of course, Pretty Shaw ran the Lyft National Series and the Hitachi Truck Series. And she got a couple wins out of that. And now she moves up to Trackhouse Racing, where she'll team up with Charles Sanford, the number 99, who's back there kind of just riding at the back of the pack right now. Not a great start for the 99 team, nor the 1. We'll see if some pit strategy can maybe get him back into this race. Dylan Young has not looked back early on. Of course, he had a pretty strong showing at Daytona. Had an okay showing at Homestead, and now he's looking to get a win to hopefully punch his ticket into the playoffs. Of course, if you recall Dylan Young, I believe it's Season 5, Season 6. Season 5, he got a win. Or one of those seasons he got in without a win and did not make it past the first round. The next season he made it in, eliminated first round. So it's been heartbreak for Dylan Young in terms of the playoffs. Of course, he's still got a while to think about that, but he could punch his ticket in today with a win, or at least put himself in a position to punch his ticket in, which is what I'm sure he's thinking about right now. And again, also just thinking about putting together a good points day, because Circuit of the Americas is the next race. And we know COTA is a wild card race. It is a toss-up in terms of where these guys can run. And of course, we could see a totally random winner there. But how's about Scott Upton? We do want to highlight this. Of course, he's closing in on the race leader, but he's got a mirror full of Michael Collins, and Michael Collins could be a threat himself at COTA. Of course, he won the Daytona Road Course for the Clash earlier this season. Again, we will revisit the Daytona Road Course for race number 17. That's a whiles away. But, again, these two champions battling it out for the second spot. And also, I should note, Scott Upton, he had an abysmal start to the season. Of course, he LePaged the field in the Daytona 500, managed to continue racing, but, of course, finished the race multiple laps down. Didn't quite have a good showing at Homestead, and right now he knows, boy, I need a good result, because if I don't get one, it's what's running through his head. If I don't get a good result today, I could be the one having to use the provisional, or I could be the one having to worry about using the provisional starting race number 6 at Auto Club, and you don't want that as we go to the West Coast. 38 looked. He's still looking. Meanwhile, Dylan Young has gotten out to a 1.3 second lead as these two battle side by side. It helps neither of their cases. Michael Collins got the position that lap. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. He's looking to take that third spot away. And keep an eye on Roberto Crown Jr. here today. Of course, he's only running the Cup side, but it should be noted, of course, his Lyft National Series colleague in Dylan Ibrahimian picked up the checkered flag yesterday, or last night at Richmond, driving that 16 for Colleague Racing, and did so in dominating fashion as he looks for second. And it looks like Colleague is poised for yet another strong showing here at Richmond this weekend as they look for the team sweep. Dylan Ibrahimian, the guy who got it done for him, he's currently running in the 22nd position, so a little bit of work to be done for that team. And Roberto Crown closing in big time on Dylan Young, down to 0.6 of a second, that lead. Now down to 0.4. Now it's a battle. Can Dylan Young hang on? Of course, I'm sure he wants to keep leading. He can keep leading and close up a playoff point at least, but it's not going to matter. Roberto Crown Jr. to the race lead. And just like that, Colleague is back on top here at Richmond. And he's going to pull away. And actually, the leaders are going to pit. So we're in the middle of our first cycle of stops. And now here comes the 31 and the 5. We'll see if these two dive down, and they do. Alexander Rowe is in. 24 stays out. Mitchell Hodak, he'll cycle around to the lead for now. Reggie Fogelman also staying out in that number 14. Here comes the 24. And now here comes the 14 as well. Both of them into their pits. See, where does the 31 come off the pit lane? He comes out behind the 2 of Dylan Young. So Dylan Young going to take the race lead right back from from the 31 of Roberto Crown Jr. And you see he's going to put a few cars a lap down, as now he's going to have to battle his way through some lap traffic, including his teammate, the number 12, Trevor Collins. And he's in a lap traffic moment presented by Fitzwater's Angriness. And again, if you didn't watch the Lift National race yesterday, I explained why these guys get penalized when they're racing in front of the race leaders. Again, our goal is to try to clear the way for the race leader, so that way the battle for the lead is not impeded upon. We don't do that here at Richmond, and we won't do it at any other track, for the most part, other than the super speedway races. As far as Atlanta, that is a to-be-determined basis. So we're not quite sure yet what we're going to do in terms of Atlanta, as we will be running the new Atlanta later in the season. And of course, that will be, oh, I don't even know off the top of my head, but that'll be later in the year. Here goes the 77 off the pit lane. Another car the 2 has to get around. You can see Dylan Young struggling to work through the lap traffic right now. He's trying to get by Steve Morgan in the number 15. One thing to keep in mind is we are on lap number 34, and with every car Dylan Young laps, this puts the position for the free pass at stake. Of course, you see Parker Newhouse 4 laps down, Dylan Ibrahimian now 4 laps down. Another rough go for Dylan Ibrahimian. Not what he wanted today. But as of right now, the number 1, Pretty Shaw, would get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. Now would be the 15. Mitchell Collins blocking his teammate. That won't go over well at the team meeting, I'm sure, this week. You see Dylan Young has to go high to avoid it. Again, this probably will not go over well at team meetings. Dylan Young's got to be saying, come on, teammate, give me a break. And that, too, probably the strongest we've seen him in a few weeks. Or in a few seasons, rather. Now he'll lap Nathan Faden in the number 3. Dylan Young will get a nose under the 22 now. He's going to lap his teammate. Not this lap, though, as we have hit the halfway mark in the race, and it's been mostly Dylan Young. Early on, of course, Roberto Crown Jr. had a slight say in how this race was going earlier. But you see, since the pit stops, though, he's fallen 6 seconds back of race leader Dylan Young. And how's about Dave James at the halfway mark? I should really note how strong this 65 is looking today. Of course, he's the front-running Subaru in this field right now, driving in 5th. It looks to be a career day for that 65 team if they can hang on. Of course, we're going to have at least 1, maybe 2 more cycles of pit stops coming your way. But it looks like a strong day for the 65 team. And same for Scott Upton, who's had a rough start to the season. Oh, he almost pushed the 31 into the corner. And you see there, Scott Upton's going to take 3rd. Will Dave James follow for 2nd? He will not. Back up front, you saw Dylan Young lapped his teammate. He's now going to look to put Jessica Strauss a lap down, and dead ahead, another good friend of Dylan Young's. That is the 99 of Charles Sanford. Again, he's got a few cars to get there. Oh, Dylan Young had to check up. That opens the door for the 22 to get his lap back. Michael Collins is either slowly eating away at that gap or he's just maintaining it. He has really stayed about 3 seconds back, which is good. Oh, 3 wide, not where the leader wants to be. Man, do you think Dylan Young's hoping for a caution here? Or what? Now he's going to try to lap Colin Cropley in the number 9, who's making his 2nd start of his Jello Cup Series career. Of course, missing at Richmond, or at Homestead, rather. Now he's going to put Dylan Ibrahimi another lap down. Dylan Ibrahimian not without a fight. He just about doored the 2 going through the corner. He wouldn't give him an inch on that bottom lane. You see Dylan Young really struggling through this lap traffic now. But you see, it's not having too much of an impact because Michael Collins not able to close the gap. which I know what we're looking at is possibly the pit window right now for one more stop. Based on how long they're going on this run. Much like yesterday, this race a blowout. As Dylan Young comes to the pits. Michael Collins stays out. He'll lead the race. You see Michael Collins has struggled through his own lap traffic battles. And now here he comes to the pit lane, as will the 10. The 5 will stay out. That's Scott Upton, rather. Now he'll make his way to the pits here. There's Dylan Young cycling around the track. Upton's in. Keith Stevens moved up a little. Let's see, where will the 2 cycle out? To the lead goes Dylan Young once again. We'll see this time exactly where everybody cycles out. As we hit lap number 60. So it's Dylan Young right now with a almost 10-second advantage. You have to go way far back to find the 38 of Michael Collins, who's running in second. How's about Dave James? We can't say this enough, just how strong of a run he's having. It's a career day for Dave, who's in his 4th career Cup Series start. Of course, he started last year's 500, came out with the top 10, but a 3rd place run right now going for the 65 team. Excellent day for them. You have to go a little ways back to find 4th place Scott Upton. And then, of course, you've got the 31, Roberto Crown Jr. That rounds out your top 5. And a good day for Scott not Scott Upton. Well, yeah, Scott Upton, but the 11 as well of Samet Ozkan. He is currently running in that 6th spot in his first start this season. "13 cars, now 12 cars on the lead lap. No cars out of the race, but Alexander Rowe currently running in 40th. Rough day for the former champ. Dylan Young trying to put him another lap down. Won't do so this time. We'll come to 15 to go this time. Michael Collins ate away at the lead a little bit, but it's been all Dylan Young today. He's led the majority of the race. And you see the lead down to 7 seconds. Dylan Young would be looking for his 4th career victory. That would tie him with Luis Hernandez, Austin Shaw, and Dick Clark. Again, Luis Hernandez, the Season 1 champ, it would tie him with, as well as Austin Shaw, the active driver in the 48, and Dick Clark, who drives that 43. That's where it would put him with a win here today. I believe it'd be his first win since Season 6. So this is huge right now, as we are on lap 69 here at Richmond. About to come to lap 70. It has been a caution-free day nonetheless. Dylan Young doing what Dylan Ibrahimian should have done last night and taken no urgency getting around the lapped cars. But right now, you got to imagine still, there's going to be 10 laps to go this time. There's got to be some urgency here if you're Dylan Young to get around Alexander Rowe and put him another lap down. So you have clear racetrack ahead, because looking ahead, the next car isn't until Charles Sanford in the 99. You got a little bit of a gap. But right now, Dylan Young just doing gap maintenance back here. You see, he's just not pushing the issue with the former champ. Six to go. Dylan Young still maintaining that 7.6 second lead. And I just don't think Michael Collins is going to have the time unless we get overtime. I just don't see any way he's going to be able to catch, let alone battle Dylan Young for the win. Everybody's run a respectable race today. As you see, they've caught the pack. Now Alexander Rowe turning on the jets and trying to get away from Dylan Young. As Dylan Young will try to put Dan Hummel a lap down. That's 12th place right there. Saw Dave James, he was running in third. He's dropped to 6th. Austin Shaw up to 7th. A good day going for the 48 and a good day for Subaru. 3 cars that'll finish likely in the top 15 when this is all said and done. A good day, and also still a career day for Dave James. I believe his best finish was 8th in that 500. As Dylan Young will lap Dan Hummel here. Here comes Dylan Ibrahimian in the number 18. You saw, though, that 2 is just not as strong on the long runs compared to these lapped cars. It's like he's really using his stuff up, trying to get around them. As you see, he'll lap Dan Hummel there. With 2 to go. And now the 18 will try to take a lap back. But you might as well let him go at this point. We're coming to the white flag. It is 1 lap of racing to go, presented by Mitchell's Memes. Dylan Young. Again, he hasn't won in a few seasons. But that streak is going to end. He sure loves getting on long winless droughts, doesn't he? As out of turn number 4, Dylan Young, he's going to pick up the win here today at Richmond. And if you wanted to know the pun, he wins at Richmond with Richmond on the hood. Pretty ironic, wouldn't you say? I think next week he should have Coda on the hood, because that's where we go next. Circuit of the Americas next weekend. We want to thank you for watching. We're going to show you results and your standings. We'll see you then. Till next weekend, guys. Goodbye, everyone.